older brother that had one replaced quite a while back.
Steve?
Yeah. I'm going to stop at 2.
That's all good for you. That's all you got.
That's all I got.
Should have
I
put some
hope.
greaserts in
I
there.
hope these last a while.
Yeah. Put greaserts in there and just shoot them up every once in a while. That kind of lubricates it up. Yeah.
He said it only lasts about 15 years.
Oh, thanks.
That's what they told me on my knee anyway.
I had one done 10 years ago, so let's see, 5, yeah.
Hey, Lana, do you know her? I met this guy Saturday. Snyder,
Good, how
farmer,
are you doing?
Tribune.
No.
Is he an investor
He had
in
just turned
walk-on?
rumor that I was getting a
He
heat
told me he
replacement.
was.
Yeah, a year ago.
Yes, and
Year ago last July.
Boomhauer.
And yeah, that's what he said. Boomhauer and
Sammy.
Oh, getting along, getting older.
Those two have always
We
been
all are
together.
that.
well, I knew he was wealthy because he bought over $20,000 to $25,000 at the auction Saturday,
Won't do any good, will it?
just because he wanted to.
Because he felt good.
Huh?
Yeah, he was having a good time.
Feel like every day, we go by.
Other people weren't.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Especially when everything.
Holding back.
If he just walked up there and
You gonna
says,
have it done? Somebody-
that's all he did.
I've got several people.
Kept his hand up.
Good for him.
Behind me, the principals.
Good for him.
For the
Direction.
Well, it's
Oh, he
7:30,
is.
we're ready to get started too.
He is or his son is?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome aboard at 7:30. Welcome to our October meeting, Feeney County Economic Development. Welcome, everyone. September?
Yeah.
I guess it is. I'm a little early. September meeting. Yeah.
Jumping the gun.
Welcome on.
I'll go back to that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm feeling a little eager today. You should have received the consent agenda via email. Hopefully everybody received it and was able to take a look at it, look at the budget, look at all the information that Mr. Steve sent out. Thank you, Steve, for sending that out. Grant, good morning. Good morning. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look at it, had a chance to approve it. Let's see if they have any adjustments or anything that need to be made to the agenda, the minutes, or the financial statements, or any questions on any of those items.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
It's been a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second?
I'll second.
Second. Stewart? All approved, say aye.
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 Thank you. Public comment. We have any public comment today? Ladies, you got anything to say today? You sure? Long? Nothing? Okay. We'll move forward then. We'll have an update from our president, Ms. Lana Duvall.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Prospect 8232, this is one that was looking for a site and needs to move pretty quickly. Steve and I have put together multiple sites for him, and we're hopeful that we can get him landed on one. He's needing to start construction pretty quickly, so hopefully we get, he only needs 2 acres, so sometimes I think that's more challenging than if they need a lot. When we have fewer sites, we tend to move them through the process a little quicker, but hopefully we'll get him settled on something, and Steve and I are supposed to meet with him, I think, hopefully either late this week or early next week to go through the sites with him and see if we can make one of them work.
Did he need a pretty good sized building?
I'm sorry?
Does he need a pretty good sized building?
Yeah, he's building his building. Yeah, it's a warehousing project, so he's already got all of the steel and everything sitting on the ground.
Oh, wow.
And just needs to find a place to start
Okay.
putting it up in the air.
Thank you.
Yeah. Prospect 823-1, this is a commercial project, entertainment related. We've been working with the developer for, several months now, and just this week, city staff provided a development tool package to them, kind of laying out all of the variety of tools that we can utilize for their project. So we're hopeful that that will move pretty quickly once we have an agreement with them on those tools. No other updates on our prospects that we have for industrial and manufacturing projects. Things have slowed down quite a bit with financing where it is. We're seeing projects kind of hold back and kind of wait and see, I think, trying to determine what's going to happen with interest rates. And there's definitely a constriction of the market right now. We'll see how long that lasts, but I think property prices are starting to come back and getting lined out again, and hopefully something will give. Right now with high property prices, high taxes, and inflation, it just makes it really challenging for new businesses to launch. So hopefully when one or more of those things can stabilize a little bit, we'll start seeing the market free back up. Housing, we have a lot of housing projects still working through the process, thank goodness. We need them all. The Hunter's Glen project that you mentioned earlier, Dave, they are really close on being able to start renting some of the new units that they just finished. So I'm going over there to work with their builder tomorrow afternoon and get one of the units staged so that they're ready for getting clients in and doing some open houses to show folks. Though they are very different than anything else we have. They're two-story, and they'll be really nice for families, I think, but people just aren't used to seeing that type of apartment unit here, so it might take a little bit for people to get accustomed to the idea, but I think they'll do really well. And then other things that are happening, we've got our childcare on 3rd Street is very, very close. We are waiting on final approval from the fire marshal, and KDHE has been very good in communication with us. So that the instant that the fire marshal is done, that KDHE can get in and finish everything up. So we feel really good that we're getting some good traction there, and hopefully have that open within the next month to 6 weeks. Randall Estates, KDOT has issued the permit. That's what we've been waiting on for about 60 to 90 days, somewhere in there. But we do have the permit, so now we're just waiting on the county to schedule the pre-construction meeting. So hopefully that can happen soon. The developer is ready to go, has his contractors lined up, and we're hopeful the county will get that set so that we can get moving before we lose his contractors or have them get on other jobs and then delay being able to get in and get started. On Sligo Station, we're working on finishing up the contract with the city for those MIH funds, the Moderate Income Housing Funds. It requires that there be a development agreement signed between the city and the developer, as well as the city and the state. So that's supposed to be going to the city the first meeting in October. And architects are working on drawings, and things are moving forward. So hopefully we'll be able to do contractor selection with them in the next month, we're hopeful, and then be able to start construction next spring on that first building there. And then things that are happening meeting-wise, the early childhood task force that the governor appointed me to is moving pretty quickly now. They've divided us up into some subgroups to work out some logistics on specific areas that we want to ensure are met when we move forward with putting together, if that's a single cabinet or if it's just a new process for managing early childhood. So we have those meetings, the task force meetings this week, and then back to Topeka for another full task force meeting and report out. And then the plan is that we will submit our proposal to the legislature in January, and hopefully make some vast improvements to how early childhood is managed in the state of Kansas. I also have a meeting this morning with Governor Kelly, talking through some challenges and some specific items related to Medicaid expansion and how our rural hospitals are faring with that. So hopefully that meeting goes well. We appreciate that she's spending the time to come out and visit with us. So. And then other things we have coming up that are pretty important for you guys, the KDOT consult next week. If you haven't signed up for that and you have the opportunity, we'd love to have you take part in that. And then the Newman University mixer, they're bringing out the president of the university. And so if you've got an opportunity to come and take part in that evening reception, that would be great as well. And I think that's about it. Any questions?
Any questions? Vicki, questions?
No questions for me.
Okay. Thank you, Lana. Mr. Cottrell?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Crush a Can Day. Yeah. So everybody
funny you're gonna bring that
crush a pop can or favorite beverage of choice. It's also corned beef hash day.
That's for lunch?
Yeah, I've heard it.
That's for lunch. Okay.
Don't forget the chocolate milk.
When, in honor of Grant, chocolate. Our boy Grant has to have chocolate milk in the morning. On the industrial side, this month the city annexed 143 acres they had acquired from the Herman family on the east side of BD2 or the north side of the BNSF main line. It's a step forward there. KDOC did send out an RFP this month for a $300 to $500 million project. It's a lot of money. They only needed 35 to 50 employees, but they have a need for 4 times the power that's going to the empirical plant. Absolutely guaranteed to be ready within 2 years. So, sorry, we can't. To back off on that one. That's the first one in a while, KUC. On the corridor project, Wigland has got the power installed in phase 1. The only thing left in infrastructure is filling in the rumble strip across the entrance onto US 83. They have a product identified, so it's just a matter of getting people and product here for a couple of days. It'll be done and should be ready for everybody's final acceptance on phase 1. Worked on a couple of commercial developments on the east side of town. One of them had to recreate after the great computer crash of 23. Actually, both of them. This is already done. And then we'll work with Downtown Vision on a concept for a pop-up shop. They invite small vendors in, and they would have a central purchasing point, and we would have up to 15 or 20 small vendors in the concept. So it looks like that's getting some traction with their board. So stand by for future news. As Lana mentioned, Randall Estates finally did get KDOT's entrance permit. So just waiting for a pre-construction conference. We'll get going there. Working on Sligo Station, we're working on selecting a construction manager at risk for the first building. And also in the last City Commission meeting, they approved the acquisition of the balance of the Lost River development. phase one, and it was not part of that, so original developers are still going to try and finish that one. So, worked on a revamped concept for that development as well. Look forward to conversations with the city about that project. And then I've been working on some residential development concepts east of the bypass, trying to figure out where we might build all those houses we need, for all the people we need, for everything we need. So,
Lost River, that's up north of Fleming, correct?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think water and sewer infrastructure is finally in condition that it's acceptable, and then all they got to do is build their street and start building some houses. But that's been what they needed to do for the last couple of years. Let's see.
Thank you. Any questions for Steve?
Hey, Captain.
Thank you, Mr. Cottrell.
Thank you, Captain.
She's on a 3-second time delay. In case she says something.
She said it with the mic, she said it with a mute on. Mr. Scott, you're up.
All right. Social media this month has been pretty average. We had about 2,200 visits to the website. The most viewed posts were about the new Garden City Achieve Playground, an alumni spotlight at the college, walk-ons doing some stuff, and one of the high school seniors earned a National Merit Scholarship semifinalist. Facebook, we had about a $1,400 post reach, which is the number who saw particular posts, 900 post engagements. The top posts included several Fall Fest posts, the Garden City Fiesta pageant, Garden City High School volleyball results, and the college's alumni spotlight feature. On X, also known as Twitter, we had about 1,100 tweet impressions, which is the number who saw any particular tweet of ours, and 396 followers. Top tweets were the Garden City Achieve Playground, the Alumni Spotlight, and the National Merit Scholarship semifinalist. So that's social media for this month. Any questions?
Questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott. Guess that means Mr. Grant Lindenberger's up.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. I have a client, 6233. We are close to the end of getting them all finished out. We're going to have a little review with them, or with Great Plains tomorrow. And then we have 8234. This client, I gave a business plan to, waiting to get back for a follow-up. 8235. Had an initial meeting with this client and kind of built a business plan, a financial spreadsheet. I'm working with a FCEDC colleague, and this client's far along in the business plan. We're just fine-tuning where they're at the end of it. And I've got client 92301. This client showed up on the FCEDC client list. I haven't had an interaction with him yet, but I reached out to him and waited to hear back. And then client 9232, this client walked in and got them, we had an initial meeting right then and there, got them signed up as a client, and just waiting to hear back from them after they finish up their business plan. Client 9233, had an initial meeting with this client. They've had a lot of years spent in their industry, and they're looking to start their own business. And So we're at the beginning stages there. And then 09234, this client is, we've had an initial meeting and we've exchanged emails and far along the business plan, moving along quickly and getting close to being on that one. For meetings and initiatives, current number of clients signed up under the Kansas FCEDC now is at 23. Some upcoming webinars and workshops that FCEDC is putting on is come October 3rd, Cybersecurity 101 for any business. That will be held in person at FHSU campus, as well as some virtual events that you can attend in Dodge or Liberal. October 11th, Sales and Compensation Use Taxes is a webinar. October 11th, Business Planning for starting business and for existing businesses. It's a webinar. On October 24th, we're looking to do another women-owned business workshop in Dodge City this time. And then November 6th, I will be partnering with, I'll be partnering with Lori, who we will talk about how to write a business plan here in Garden City Dental Center. Sorry.
Okay. So of these active or these clients that you're meeting with, how many of those are pushed on to Lana? Are all of these in Lana's queue for potential businesses and those types of things? Or when do they move into that stage?
We all meet with them.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Grant's got a couple that he's kind of just run by himself. They're, small enough, just looking for financing, or, if they're just in one category, Grant can handle those by himself. He's definitely got the skills put together to gather all the information and get those rolling. But nearly all of his initial meetings, we sit down together with them so that we identify all of the things that they may need. And then if it's more complex, they need a building or they need assistance beyond just financial, then that's typically, we're doing that as a team approach until Grant gets a little more experience with how to solve a myriad of problems versus just kind of the narrow scope, if you will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grant.
Thanks, Grant.
Any questions for Grant? Okay. Mr. Shannon?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This one was going to be pretty boring for Vicki because there's lots of maps. So, just getting stuff ready for the IKE process with KDOT coming out. So this is just kind of just starting to put pieces together. And some of the stuff is going to look very familiar because all it is updating some of this traffic stuff from the stuff I did before, which was in 2019. So first, here's the overall KDOT map where they use some random colors to color how much traffic is. And again, my main issue with the way that KDOT reports overall traffic for the state is using these colors where the second highest traffic color is yellow. Try to find yellow on there that isn't a city. And then some other things like pink is one of the things that you most notice, even though that's the second least amount. So every time I do this, the first thing I go through is recolor everything. So go to the next slide. This is colored where the darker the color, the more traffic there is. And then I also slightly vary the width of the roads on the map based on the truck traffic. So the overall traffic is the darkness. The overall width of the roads on the map is the truck traffic. And you really start to get an idea of what like just there in front, just see where you see all the traffic in this one. Now flip back one. A completely different understanding of what we get out of the road maps just by coloring it on how much the traffic is used, which to me, if we're looking at a map, that's what one of the points would be. So that's the first step going in here. There's a lot of things going into that map. There's a lot of things like Highway 83 has really increased its traffic over the last couple of years, like we're talking in the 20% increase, 30% increase, which I'm not an expert in roads, but to me that seems like a huge increase over a couple of years. So I wanted, if I have time, I'd like to go through and do a map that's similar to this, but mapping the change over the last, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, something like that. So we can see not only is where there's a high level of traffic, but also where we're seeing rates of changes and where are we getting more traffic. In our region, not just 83, but 5,400, 54, we've seen a pretty good increase in traffic and truck traffic recently. So I'd like to see that. Okay, so the next one, one of the other things that I've been working on, and this is again back to what we were doing before, is looking at how our traffic on our non-divided highways in our area, so Highway 83, 5,400, and 54, are compared to the divided rural highways in the rest of the state. And so what I've done this time, and I still need to do a little bit of tweaking, last time I said, what is our current traffic versus the current traffic in eastern Kansas on those divided highways? That's not really a fair comparison because they've been divided, which gets more traffic. So what I'm looking at this time is looking at traffic. What was the traffic on those highways before they got divided? So we had, at some point, the state said, you know what, there's enough traffic here, you should get divided. So instead of comparing current traffic, let's go back in time and say, what did it look like when all those roads were divided right beforehand? What was the traffic compared to ours? So this is the first step at it. I'm actually tweaking a little bit, but so hopefully you're not too colorblind because I don't know how well those colors, that weirdish pink and weird, so that's just a default color in the program. So these are all the traffic counts that we had. The pink ones are the ones that are not divided. Those are the ones out here. The blue ones were the ones that ended up to be divided. And this is just, there's just nothing on the white. That's just a scatter plot of the traffic overall. Now, if we go separate them on traffic and truck traffic, we see a pattern that's really concerning to me. What is this telling us? There seems to be, so you can see all of our non-divided highways up there in pink on the top. What is the vertical axis of this? This is how much truck traffic there is. So when we look at how much traffic there is, we saw before with just overall traffic, we're kind of in the middle of the pack. What makes our traffic different than the traffic on the places that they decided to split? Well, we have the overall about the same overall traffic, but we have way more truck traffic, which to me is concerning. That one to me, you'd think it'd be inverse, right? That, well, if you have the same amount of traffic, the ones that have more truck traffic are the ones that are getting divided, not the ones that have less truck traffic. So this is a good point. This is a good talking point when we're saying, hey, we have the traffic that everybody's got divided highways on, but a more percentage of our traffic is truck traffic than car traffic, which you would think would warrant more division because it's not just a unit, it's a unit of economy, and it's a unit that's much larger than the physical. So working on that. Before we leave that, one other thing that I put in, I did a regression to see what makes a significant difference on the probability of getting your highways divided. So I looked at the overall traffic. I looked at the overall truck traffic. And I looked at distance to Topeka. Which one do you think, when I did my model, came out to be the biggest effect? You would hope it'd be something to do with traffic, right? Unfortunately, it comes out that the distance to Topeka was our largest effect size. So every 5 miles away you are from Topeka, you have a 1% less chance of getting your highway divided. So us being roughly 300 miles away from Topeka means that we have about a 60% less chance of getting our highways divided for the same traffic. Same truck traffic, same car traffic. Which means to have the same chance of getting divided, we have to have 60% more truck traffic or car traffic as a road next. So that's something else I need to do a little bit more poking at and put together a more formal presentation about and just looking at that mathematical model, but working on that. Also with this, the next slide, I believe, something else that I came across when I was working on some stuff is of this map of super regions in the United States. So this is a research paper that some guys put together and is really focused on what are the regions in the United States that act as super regions, where those regions have commonality. So it's easy for us to talk about kind of our super region that we have in Kansas. We have Kansas City, Wichita, Hays, Hutch. What else is this? I mean, everything. Almost everything is in one super region, Kansas City, and it extends out halfway through Missouri, and that makes sense. What's really interesting is when they built the regions and they looked at how we have the flow of an economy, this is the economic regions of the United States, we actually out here in Southwest Kansas, Garden, Dodge, and Liberal, actually down into Oklahoma, and actually Perryton. So now really sorry, Becky, because you really can't see this. This color here for Amarillo is actually a different color than our region up here. I wish they had a different color, but this is like a brownish gray, this is black. So our region ends about right here. So that's really interesting that what does a region mean? How do they define a region? A region is though the communities inside the region are more similar economically and with commuting and all those sorts of things than outside. So we are more similar together than the rest of Kansas City. So our area is not part of the rest of the Kansas region. We kind of know that, but it's really neat to see that this, where they weren't even intending to look at our little area. They didn't even label us as a region. I mean, we don't get a name. But we are definitely different. So when we're talking about why is it important to have things like local university options and specific advocacy for highways, it's because if we leave it to people not inside our region, it's not going to come back to us because we're not part of that region that the rest of Kansas is. So it's really interesting. The other interesting thing that goes back to KDOT and some of the stuff I'm working with that, go look at this. So we have these lines that are connected. How are these different communities along Kansas are connected economically? So where are those connections and how does the economy in Kansas flow? Look at where I-70 is and look at where 5400 is and the connections that we have with the economy in Kansas. If we're talking about supporting Kansas economy, there's much more connection down in that 5400 corridor, even all the way from Wichita all the way out to the Front Range. You can see a connection of economy going on there. You don't see that connection. You barely can see it up there along where I-70 is. So that's another point that we can kind of say, like, hey, when we're talking about regionality and we're talking about connections of economy and stuff like that, that 5400 corridor is very important. I mean, it comes across right there. You can definitely see that connection. And then so, if we go to the next slide, this is just, again, this is kind of hard to see because they picked really close colors between us and Amarillo. But this is where they then partitioned out the United States by saying, okay, who's in each of the regions? Which, again, I think is surprising to some people that don't know our area, but our region does reach out into Texas and into Oklahoma. Oh, I should point out this is data from 2010. So this is even before Shulman Crossing was a thing. So we still have this connection before we even really concentrated in on the population. So this goes to the next slide, which is just a really quick, neat thing that I'm trying to work on. Remember we had the blue chart that had all the circles that said where population, trade areas. I haven't updated that since we were doing stuff with Facebook before we got all Placer. This is actually data from Placer that says where do we have significant numbers of populations coming in here to shop into Garden City, and then what the size of the fonts is proportional to how many people from each of those areas are coming in to shop. What's really interesting, and I hadn't even looked at this, and I don't think this has been like this until just recently, is look at where we have some of our, if you look northeast or north, south, and west, our southernmost significant population is now Perryton, Texas. Our westmost is Rocky Ford. Usually we say Lamar La Junta, but we even starting to get people from Rocky Ford coming in. Again, talking about how important that road is, 5400. And then we are starting to get people even from McCook. Before Shulman Crossing, we kind of had a boundary where we weren't really pulling in people from Oakley or Colby or Goodland. I mean, we'd like to, but they weren't really coming in snippets. Once we opened up Shulman Crossing, we were starting to capture those people. Now we're capturing up to McCook. So when we keep on growing our economic base, that we're bringing in schools and stuff like that, it'll be really interesting to see how many of these outside communities continue to work down our way. Like, can we further expand into Nebraska to grab people and further down into Texas and stuff like that? So,
Is this current?
yes.
Okay.
I just pulled this data from Placer. I mean, current is in like 2 months current. Yep.
Wow.
So that's the stuff that's not the best, most coherent presentation, but just kind of a selection of things that I'm working on, specifically working on with the IKE process coming up here at the beginning of October.
So you mentioned truck traffic. What is our truck traffic compared to like the Wichita area? They probably have a lot more trucks going in and out of that area, but highway commuting truck traffic, I guess.
Okay, so like not interstate truck traffic?
Yeah.
If we're talking about our highway system and trucks, we dramatically outpaced them on the truck side of things.
Wow.
On the trucks. But that's part of the reason why it's important to have interstates. So that because they're directing all their truck traffic to roads that are specifically designed to have
Heavy traffic.
Right, yeah, they can have those where you're not having cars and trucks trying to pass each other. Stuff like
Exactly.
that, right?
That's my point.
Yeah, so if we're talking about other areas that have truck traffic like us, the biggest area that isn't divided is just north. So if you're running into Newton on 54, right up here, I think this is 54. That's a pretty significant route that people are coming off the interstate here, bypassing out here and then coming out this way.
Yep.
And coming up here, coming down here.
Yep.
So that's really the only other significant truck traffic area in Kansas that isn't being divided right now.
Okay.
And I didn't look and see what the rate of change is on that, if they dramatically increased as well, or if it's pretty stable.
I hardly believe they haven't changed. They've had to have changed. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I noticed we travel those routes quite often. And it's certain days, there's trucks and trucks and trucks, and then there other days there's not. Why is that? I wonder.
In our area?
Yeah,
Well, what kind of trucks?
semis,
Well, I mean, they're like cattle trucks or milk trucks or...
all different kinds. It's just like, just different days we will go and there's no trucks and hardly any.
Right.
And then other times it's just truck after truck after truck after truck.
So if it's, I'll tell you one anecdote and mind you. So the time that I was going back and forth between Scott and I was doing all the measurements, you can definitely see influences like around lunch hour where you don't, if you like, you mapped, I did everything, I mapped it out over the time. You can see where it increases through the day. You get around lunchtime, it dips down, came back and over. The thing with that though is it was during harvest though. So you have a lot of local crews doing stuff where they're going to take lunch. With trucking, if it's local trucking, you probably have different times of production. I mean, if you have because your beef packing is on shifts, and everybody's on shifts, so you might be lining up with when they need to make deliveries to make sure you're lining up with when those shift times are. But there's also a case where when you're in a not able to pass, so you're in our highway system,
Split truck.
yeah, you have times where you do get a big bunch of people all packed together. So if they came off the interstate on 83 and they couldn't pass for a while, I mean, you're blocking up probably 20 minutes worth of trucks. Where if you run up to Scott back, you might have got that time where everybody's still blocked up. If you would have came 20 minutes later, it'd be just a straight line of trucks. And that's just because we don't have free-flowing traffic. Everybody's congested. And you make your blocks of no traffic and a lot of traffic, no traffic and a lot of traffic. That might be it as well. I know.
Thank you. Anything else for Shannon? Shannon, you always come up with some pretty interesting stuff. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. New business? Do we have any new business, Ms. Lana?
You do. You need to determine what you want to do for November and December board meetings. Well, you don't have to make the decision, but we should at least have the conversation. So November's meeting will fall the day before Thanksgiving. It always does, almost without fail. So typically we've held that meeting in place But that's entirely up to you. If you all think it works to have it the day before Thanksgiving, we can leave it there. If you'd rather move it up a week, we can certainly do that, or move it back a week.
Any suggestions, comments? I think I'll be available one way or another, so,
I just say move it up a week.
week earlier?
So some of us might be on the road on the day before Thanksgiving or something like that.
Okay. Sam, comment? No?
That would be November 15th.
Vicky, got any comment there?
The 15th might be tough for me. I have a Benny County BZA meeting, but I mean, we're usually done by 9, so it should work.
Okay.
We meet in that same room, so I guess
You can just stay in your seat.
that's right.
Anybody have a problem with November 15th?
No.
Okay. November 15th it is.
All right, and then in December, the meeting would be December 27th. So might be worth moving that one up a week. We typically do move the December meeting up 1 week. That would be December 20th if we did that.
Everybody good with December 20th?
Yep.
Okay.
Same thing again, that's BZA day, so it'll be fine.
We'll just make sure we're done early, Vicky. So,
And since our board meetings are laid out in our bylaws, I would appreciate an actual motion to change those dates, if you don't mind.
gotcha. So, it's been suggested that we make a change from looks like November 22nd to November the 15th, and then December the 27th to December the 20th. Is there anybody that has any objection or any comments they'd like to make? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept the new dates of November 15th and December the 20th. Sam moves. There's a second.
I second it.
There's a second. All in favor say aye to move the dates. All opposed, same sign. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Being I thought this was October. I thought
Good thing we got ready.
we are prepared. So anything else under new business that we need to discuss?
No, sir.
Any questions from anybody with regards to new business? I'm curious to know how the meeting went down south at the, in Sublette, the school meeting. Scott, you attended that, I believe? How was it? Good turnout?
Yeah, it looked like a pretty good turnout. It was a lot of, Joe had him eating out of his hands, and he took control of that whole crowd and had him paying attention, taking notes. I thought it was fantastic.
Good deal. Good participation.
13 or 14 different businesses and industries
Good.
at tables, and then they broke them up. Had them in a big group, then they did some things, and then they broke them up into little rotating, smaller groups, each one of those.
Okay.
industries.
Good. All right. Good. Sounds like it's working then. With that, will we have any old business that we need to discuss? No old business? Do we have a need for executive session?
Yes.
Client confidentiality, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, with that, we need 20 minutes.
Plenty.
So we need a motion to adjourn and go into executive session. Do I hear a motion?
I so move.
There's a motion. I hear a second.
Second.
There's a second by David. All in favor to move, to go into executive session for 20 minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
We'll be going into executive session. Thanks, everybody, for attending. Appreciate your participation today.